More details have been discovered regarding the accused shooter of political activist Charlie Kirk and his background in Washington County.
September 2025. The nation is shaken. Conservative activist and commentator Charlie Kirk is gunned down, a shocking act of political violence that raises questions about extremism, ideology, and the future of civil discourse in America. But who was behind this attack? And why did it happen?
From there, I think.
Do you remember which lane you were in?
I was in one of those two lanes going this way. I think in the right, in the rightmost lane coming this way.
Okay.
And he would have been there going left. And as I was coming through, he turned in and I T-boned into the side.
This is the story of the suspect, Tyler James Robinson, a 22-year-old whose path from small-town life to alleged assassin has gripped the country. Tonight, we examine his background, his motives, and the chilling events that led to his capture. Who is Charlie Kirk? To understand the motives of the suspect, we must first look at the man who became his target. Charlie Kirk was born in 1993 in Arlington Heights, Illinois. By his late teens, he had already founded Turning Point USA, a non-profit organization designed to mobilize young conservatives on college campuses. Over the years, Kirk became a prominent voice in American conservatism. He spoke at political conferences, debated progressive figures, and appeared frequently on television. To his supporters, he was a courageous defender of free speech and traditional values. To his critics, he was a polarizing figure who thrived on controversy. But it was precisely this high-profile role, his influence and outspoken views, that made him a target in the eyes of Tyler James Robinson. The suspect, Tyler James Robinson. Who is Tyler James Robinson? Born in 2003 in Washington County, Utah, Robinson grew up in a region known more for its red rock landscapes than for political extremism. Neighbors described him as quiet, reserved, and intelligent. But beneath the surface, investigators now believe a storm was brewing. According to prosecutors, Robinson had become increasingly radicalized online. He consumed content that framed American politics as a zero-sum battle between good and evil. For reasons still being pieced together, he began to fixate on Charlie Kirk as a symbol of everything he opposed. Friends later told reporters that Robinson often expressed frustration with conservative media figures.
We know nowadays, who people really are. Because he looks like a normal kid, goes to college and just like every other kid out here that goes to college. It's kind of mind-boggling to know that something like that is just...
What began as disagreement slowly hardened into obsession, and then, prosecutors allege, into a deadly plan. Planning the attack. In early September 2025, Robinson allegedly began preparing. Police say he obtained a rifle and began following Kirk's public appearances. Court documents reveal that Robinson searched online for event schedules and studied Kirk's travel patterns.
We will never be able to solve all the other problems, including the violence problems that people are worried about.
On the day of the attack, Robinson is believed to have positioned himself with clear intent. DNA evidence would later connect him to the rifle used in the shooting. The shooting. Witnesses described the scene as chaotic.
I am so thankful for them. That had to be an unbelievable decision, and I should hope that all of us...
Shots rang out, people screamed, and security rushed to respond. Charlie Kirk was fatally wounded. Within minutes, news of his death spread nationwide, sparking both grief and outrage. Robinson fled the scene, but his escape was only temporary. The manhunt. For nearly 24 hours, law enforcement launched an intensive manhunt. Helicopters circled, roadblocks were set up, and images of the suspect were broadcast on every major news network. It was Robinson's own father who recognized his son in the released footage. In a dramatic turn, he convinced Tyler to surrender peacefully. The young man walked into police custody without resistance, ending the manhunt, but beginning a legal and political firestorm. Charges and evidence. Prosecutors wasted no time. Robinson was charged with aggravated murder, felony discharge of a firearm, obstruction of justice, witness tampering, and committing a violent offense in the presence of a child. If convicted, he faces life in prison without parole, or potentially the death penalty. Evidence presented by prosecutors includes the rifle itself, DNA matches, and Robinson's digital footprint. His online activity allegedly showed a pattern of ideological hostility toward Kirk and other conservative leaders.
Count 4, obstruction of justice, a second-degree felony for disposing the clothing he wore during the shooting.
The motive? Why did Tyler James Robinson target Charlie Kirk? Prosecutors argue it was driven by politics, an act of ideological violence. In their words, Kirk was not killed at random. He was assassinated for his beliefs. Some analysts suggest Robinson may have seen Kirk as a symbol rather than as a man. Others point to the influence of online echo chambers, where hostility and division can grow unchecked. Regardless of motive, the killing ignited a fierce national debate about the rise of political violence in America. Public reaction. Across the country, citizens mourned. Some saw Kirk's death as an attack on free speech. Others worried that Robinson's actions reflected a disturbing trend: young people radicalized by digital extremism, turning their anger into violence. Even those who disagreed with Kirk's politics condemned the violence. For many, it was a reminder that disagreement should never end in bloodshed. The courtroom battle. As Robinson awaits trial, legal experts say the case could take months or even years. The courtroom will become the stage where prosecutors lay out Robinson's planning, motives, and actions. His defense may argue mental health, lack of premeditation, or attempt to reduce charges.
As I'm walking in, they said, looking real good. They have the person that they wanted.
Whatever the outcome, the trial will be closely watched, both for what it reveals about Robinson himself and for what it says about the state of American democracy.
Mr. Robinson, what I also want to do is you have the right to have the charges.
Larger implications. The killing of Charlie Kirk by a young man from Utah forces us to confront uncomfortable truths.
For life without parole, or an indeterminate term of not less than 25 years.
How are people being radicalized online? What role does political rhetoric play in fueling violence? And how can society address ideological hatred before it turns deadly? Tyler James Robinson's story is not just about one man's choices. It is a reflection of broader currents, the divisions, the anger, and the dangers of an increasingly polarized society. In the end, one life was cut short, and another may spend its remainder behind bars. Charlie Kirk's death is a tragedy. Tyler James Robinson's alleged actions are a warning. And for America, the challenge ahead is clear: to find a way to disagree without destroying one another.